How's everyone doing? Today I have a Blu-ray and DVD update with all horror pickups right here. And if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them and let me know what is your favorite from this lot right here. First up is actually a documentary, but it involves a famed horror director, writer, producer, Larry Coen. It's King of Coen, basically a documentary about his life, his films, and a bunch of famous people involved. Tara Reid is in here too. I wasn't expecting to see that. But of course he directed Black Caesar, It's Alive, Q the Winged Serpent, and The Stuff. Let me know what your favorite Larry Coen movie is. For me, it's the tough choice between The Stuff and Q the Winged Serpent. I think I would go with The Stuff because I remember watching that a lot as a kid. I remember as a little kid I wanted to eat the stuff, and that's totally not the right thing to do with that. I like the social commentary for it, and I absolutely love that movie. Q the Winged Serpent as well. I really love like kind of the stop motion effects of the creature. And I just think he's a great director overall, so it's cool to see him getting a feature like this. And J.J. Abrams is in here, Martin Scorsese, Jonathan Landis, Joe Dante, Mick Garris, Michael Mororty, Fred Williamson, and then of course Larry Coen himself being interviewed too. So I think this is pretty cool. There's a bonus soundtrack CD in here too. Just a ton of special features, so I'm definitely excited to check this out. I'm a big fan of Larry Coen. So yeah, oh, here's the whole lineup right here too. Rick Baker, just a whole ton. Eric Roberts. Yeah, so there you go. A whole ton of people that he's worked with are in here giving their thoughts on Larry Coen. So definitely looking forward to checking this out. Trying to find the company for this is La La Land Entertainment that did the releasing for it. And I'll go ahead and show you the interior. As like this kind of reminds me of like the old school the DVD release that would have like the chapter inserts, but it's actually for the soundtrack right there. So that's pretty neat. And here is soundtrack and then the unique disc artwork on both right there, the Blu-ray and the soundtrack. So oh yeah, I like the there's the Q the Winged Serpent. Looks like he's holding a coffee, and oh, that's The Stuff. The Q the Winged Serpent is I like that how it integrates all his different movies right there. I dig it. At first I thought it was a coffee cup, but I was like, it makes more sense that it's actually The Stuff. There you go. Next up is an Indonesian horror movie, McCobb, which I haven't seen this one, but I'm really excited to see. I've seen clips for it, and it looks just insane. It looks crazy, violent, gory, and I'm excited for it. This is directed by, I believe they call themselves the Mo Brothers. I don't see it really on here on the back, but one of the directors was one of the co-directors for Safe Haven, the segment in VHS 2, along with Gareth Edwards, who also, Gareth Edwards of course did Raid Redemption, and that was another great Indonesian movie, one of the best action movies I've seen probably ever, actually. Not just of recent years, but all time. But basically this is a group of friends, and I guess they're trying to reconcile one of the people with like his younger sister, and I guess they take a road trip, and they're in the middle of nowhere, and they see this little girl, and they offer to bring her to her home, which is also in the middle of nowhere, and they meet her mother, who looks, I guess, ageless is what they're saying, and the mother says, you know, let me give you guys dinner, and basically the whole family's kind of like a cult, and they basically track down and kill unsuspecting travelers. So it's like a fight for survival. And I still remember seeing like the mother like eating like an eyeball or something crazy to that effect. It's been a while. I remember seeing like some kind of clips and trailers and stuff and just thinking like I have to get this. And this is from Australia, of course, right there. The little obstruction right there of very obtrusive, obstructive, the rating logos. I know a lot of the UK ones and actually like Germany ones and Australian ones that they're doing now reversible artwork, which I appreciate, which is basically the same without this. This one doesn't have that, but there's the mother right there. But definitely looking forward to checking this out. They're basically saying that Indonesia is taking over for France for doing like the extreme films. Like France was known for doing these French extreme films. Inside, Martyrs, High Tension. There's a ton of great ones. Frontiers. Let me know what your favorite French extreme horror movie is. For me, it's Inside, then Frontiers. I know most people pick Martyrs. For me, that was a tale of two movies. I love the first half of the movie. The second half is just torture porn, essentially. And I didn't like the concept for it at all. I thought it was absurd. But Inside was amazing, as is Frontiers. So those are my High Tension I loved, except I felt like the ending was a little bit of a cop-out. There's a ton of other great ones, too. Mutants is one that I feel like is so underrated. Nobody ever talks about it. I've mentioned it a bunch on my channel. It's a French infected movie. I love the heck out of it. It's got a bit of a snowy setting too, which I dig. But I'm looking forward to checking out. I digress. I just went off on a whole tangent right there. This Indonesian horror movie, McCobb, which is supposed to be gory and crazy and awesome. Can't wait to check it out. And this is I got this on eBay for dirt cheap, and it came from Australia, and it came super quick. So souped on that. It came like quicker than I would get something in the States. I feel like. Next up was an Arrow video release for What Have They Done to Your Daughters, which is supposedly a semi-sequel to What Have You Done to Solange? Same director, Massimo Dallamano, who did Cult 3 Special Squad and The Night Child, as well as What Have You Done to Solange. But basically this is about a teenage girl who is found hanging from the rafters in an attic, pregnant and violated. So that right there, you know what you're getting yourself into. It's going to be dark, grimy, dirty. These detectives are trying to find out who it is that you know, is involved with this, and apparently it's like an underage prostitution ring, and it goes to the highest echelons of Italian society. And apparently there is a cleaver-wielding, motorcycle-riding killer that's, I guess, trying to ensure that the secrets go to the grave. Which kind of reminds me of Night School, which I think is an underrated movie that Warner Archive actually put out a release for. So I believe this one came out, yeah, I'm trying to find the year on this one, but I'm pretty sure this one, yeah, 74, this came out way before Night School. But I think Night School is an underrated slasher movie, but it has a motorcycle-wielding killer. Also kind of looks like a Nail Gun Massacre a little bit with the outfit right there. But yeah, this one looks interesting, and a bunch of well-known giallo actors in here as well. So definitely looking forward to checking this one out. And again, Arrow Video is just killing with their releases. The transfers, the titles that they do, the special features. This is a new 2K restoration, and newly commissioned artwork, reversible artwork right there, which I kind of dig that too. But I think I'm going to go with that one. I think I like the newly commissioned artwork better. What do you guys think? And then again, I like the clear cases as well. For physical media collectors, it's the complete package. You get you know, disc artwork too. Sometimes it's a Blu-ray DVD combo set. This one is just the Blu-ray, and then you get the booklet, which I'm a big fan of the booklet. Behind the scenes photos, information. Sometimes a lot of really good information too, talking about the cast. Sometimes they have interviews and like film critics, historians, like that. So I love what they're doing as a company. One of the best companies out there releasing Blu-rays today. Arrow Video. So thankful that they're releasing over here in the U.S. They started out as a UK-based company, and I hope that they bring more of their titles that they've released in the UK over here to the U.S. I know there's different licensing and rights issues, but so many amazing releases. Can't wait to check this one out. Let me know what your favorite giallo is. And next up is one from Mill Creek. I love the title for this. Psycho Biddy double feature, both starring Joan Crawford right here. Straight Jacket and Berserk. Straight Jacket, I think she chops up her husband who's cheating on her, and then like the lady that she was cheating on with, she goes to like a mental institution for like 20 years, and then she's released, and then murders are happening, and they think that it's her. And then Berserk she's the owner of a traveling circus, and people are end up dying, and they're trying to figure out who's the killer, and craziness going on right here. But I love Psycho Biddy double feature. You can't make that up. I dig the heck out of it. Joan Crawford, great movie queen right there. So looking forward to checking out the transfers on these two. Mill Creek does a great job with especially their budget titles. I think they're doing a really good job for some of their Blu-ray releases coming up too, or ones that they've released recently with slip covers and things like that. And they usually kill as far as the TV seasons too. Last but not least is Mandy. This is from RLJ Entertainment. I love the slipcover for this. I don't think this is a DVD. I don't think the Blu-ray has this slipcover. I don't know if you can. I don't think you're getting the full foily effect right here, but it's, and look, Nicolas Cage right there with that giant like axe blade thing. But the slipcover has got this really cool foily effect, and I don't think it's fully picking it up on the camera. But this movie is a trip, literally. I feel like it's kind of a mixture of a surreal art house film meets like a revenge action movie. It is crazy, over the top, very stylistic, sometimes overly so. There's certain scenes that I felt could have been cut out, especially certain scenes where they're just like walking through the layers. But I understand the importance of what they're trying to convey with, you know, the layers and then how deep and dark that he's going. Basically, it's Nicolas Cage and his girl are living in this kind of remote cabin in the woods, and in this, it's set in 1983 as well, by the way. I believe it's 83. I don't like the title sequences. That's one thing that makes me. It's like they name the area of the woods and they say 1983 AD. Really, I wouldn't have guessed that if you didn't show them, you know, driving around in cars. Obviously, you know. And then they introduce the cult. There's this cult that drives by and sees the girl Mandy, and they decide to abduct her, and everything goes horribly awry from there. Nicolas Cage is out for revenge. I found the character Mandy to be freaking terrifying. The look, I know they didn't fully explain certain things like the scar, but you kind of get a backstory of her father and kind of stuff, how she grew up, so it kind of, you know, alludes to that. But there's certain scenes with her, she's they show her face and her eyes and the scar. I'm like, that right there is pretty scary. And then they show these characters from the cult, and at first I was like, felt like Hellraiser-esque, and then I kind of don't like the way that they went with it. But overall, it is very stylistic. I think it's very intriguing, definitely worth checking out. I feel like this movie has a ton of hype. For me personally, I don't know if it quite lives up to it, but I think it is definitely worth watching. Nicolas Cage, I think, did an amazing job. I think he kind of gets unfair criticism for some of his movies and how he, people say he, you know, Cage acts and stuff like that. I thought he was, I think he was made for this role, in fact. Certain scenes were very reminiscent of Bad Lieutenant, though. Port of New Orleans, his like role in that. There are certain scenes with a lot of the drugs, and I was like, wow, that's just, it's the same movie, Bad Lieutenant, but with lots of blood. But of course, very different. But I like seeing some of the other people in here too. Bill Duke was awesome. There he is right there. I always remember him from Predator. But yeah, some other recognizable people in here. And again, it is a crazy, trippy movie. It's directed by Panos Cosmatos, and very stylistic. It's just one thing that's definitely very memorable, stays with you long after viewing. I heard so much hype and so much buzz about it. I was kind of expecting a little bit of a different thing, and just there's certain things I wish could have been tweaked a little bit more here and there, but overall, still a strong film. Probably, even though I'm, you know, kind of saying it doesn't live up to the hype, I still think it's one of the better movies of the year, and definitely worth, again, checking out. But I'd say taper your expectations, just because for me, I heard a lot of people saying it's like one of the best movies of the year, and for me, it's probably, I'd say top 15 for me of the year. Not quite, you know, in the top 5 category. Definitely not the top for me personally. Again, it's all subjective, but I still dug it. I definitely think Nicolas Cage was awesome in that role. I liked some of the grittiness of it, and I felt like the kills and the gore definitely got amped up as the movie went along. At first, they were like kind of cutting away from some of those scenes, and then they showed some amazing scenes. I did think certain things were formulaic as well. I totally called a couple things that happened before they did, and for that aspect, again, definitely a bizarre film, but I still dug it. So there you go. Those were the 5 pickups right here. If you've seen any of them, definitely let me know what you think of them, and let me know which was your favorite right there. And once I do check out the ones that I haven't seen, I will do a proper video for them coming up soon, reviews and more in depth. So look forward to that coming up. And hope everybody's doing well. Take care.